Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. If you're joining me today, you probably know that incredible edge-of-your-seat excitement of setting up a brand new reef tank. You finally got that glass box perfectly positioned in the room, the plumbing is dialed in, the lights are mounted, and you're ready to go. But hold on. Before you rush out to buy your very first clownfish or some beautiful little coral frag, there is an absolutely critical, completely invisible first step you have to take. Today, we're talking all about aquarium cycling. It's the foundational biological process that will literally make or break your entire reef system.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with what aquarium cycling actually is, then we'll map out the stages of the cycle, look at the factors that change your timeline, break down those timelines by your specific setup method, and finally, we'll talk about the ultimate proof of readiness. Let's just dive right in.
So let's kick things off by hitting on the big, burning question every single new reef enthusiast has when staring at their empty tank, just listening to the hum of the return pump. You want life in there, right? And you want to know, how long is this waiting game actually going to take?
Well, the short answer is that in most typical reef setups, you can expect cycling to take about 3 to 6 weeks. But I want you to keep this crucial takeaway in mind right from the start. That is just an average. Actually, relying on a calendar is a huge trap. We need to explore exactly why this timeline varies so wildly from tank to tank, and what biological mechanisms are actually ticking away under the surface of the water.
Section 1. What is aquarium cycling? You know, a lot of people think cycling is just letting the water age. But no, you aren't just letting water sit there, you are actively building an invisible bacterial army. When you eventually add fish, they're going to produce waste, and that waste creates ammonia, which is highly toxic to marine life. Cycling is simply the process of growing specific populations of nitrifying bacteria, whose entire job is to conquer that toxic waste. First, your ammonia-oxidizing bacteria eat the ammonia and convert it into nitrite, which, by the way, is also toxic. Then a second population of nitrite-oxidizing bacteria grows to convert that nitrate into relatively harmless nitrate. Without this microscopic army in place first, your future livestock honestly wouldn't stand a chance.
Which brings us to Section 2, the stages of the cycle. This is the core chemical progression you're going to see when you use your test kits at home. Step 1, your ammonia spikes. This happens because you've intentionally introduced an ammonia source to kickstart the whole process. Step 2, as the first wave of your bacterial army establishes itself, they start eating that ammonia. So your ammonia drops, but your nitrite rapidly rises. Then we hit Step 3, where the second wave of bacteria comes online. They consume the nitrite, causing it to drop, and you are left with accumulating nitrate. It's a very specific, readable chain reaction.
All right, Section 3, factors changing the timeline.
You might be wondering why one tank cycles in a flash while another takes months. Well, you are the commander of this ecosystem. Think of it like this. Your bacteria need a home, they need food, and they need a comfortable climate. Providing an initial biological seed, like established live rock or a bottled starter culture, gives you a massive head start compared to starting with a totally sterile tank. Fishless cycling, where you precisely dose pure ammonia, is way more predictable than relying on random decaying matter. Also, maintaining stable temperatures, ensuring high oxygen through good surface water agitation, and providing plenty of porous rock surface area for the bacteria to live on, all of these directly dictate how fast your army grows. On the flip side, if you dose too much ammonia, you can actually stall the cycle, and if you dose too little, you'll starve it.
Let's get specific. In Section 4, timelines by setup method. Depending on your specific build, your wait time shifts dramatically. If you're bringing in heavily seeded, really healthy live rock from an established system, you're transferring a massive ready-made bacterial army. That can cut your timeline down to roughly 2 to 3 weeks. If you're starting completely sterile with dry rock and just adding some bottled bacteria, you're looking at that standard 3 to 6 week window. And if you end up with a slow start setup, say your tank has low oxygen, unstable temperatures, or minimal ammonia dosing, you can easily be staring at a 6 to 10 week wait, maybe even longer. So your upfront decisions completely dictate the patience you're going to need later.
Finally, we reach Section 5, the proof of readiness.
Here is the crucial point to remember. Ready is not a date on the calendar. It is a measurable biological capability. You absolutely cannot just wait 4 weeks, cross your fingers, and declare the tank safe. Your tank is only ready when it can take a targeted dose of ammonia and rapidly process it all the way through to nitrate within 24 to 48 hours, leaving zero toxic ammonia or nitrate lingering in the water. Use this as your absolute proof approach. Test your water regularly. You want to see ammonia hit 0. You want to see nitrate hit 0. And you want to see a corresponding, predictable rise in nitrate. But wait, Don't just trust a single good test result. You need to prove that your beneficial bacteria can handle this waste load consistently over multiple rounds of dosing and testing. That consistency, that's your ultimate green light.
Oh, and here's a massive pro tip straight from the source material. Once your tank is biologically cycled, it is highly recommended to build in a little bit of buffer time. Reef tanks, unlike a lot of standard freshwater setups, house incredibly sensitive invertebrates and corals. So even if your nitrogen cycle is fully complete, taking a little extra time to ensure your alkalinity, calcium, salinity, and your overall water chemistry are rock solid and stable, that's going to save you a lot of heartache before you start introducing delicate corals.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this absolute golden rule from the source material. Readiness depends on consistent chemistry, not a calendar. Seriously, let your test results dictate your schedule, not your excitement. Building this invisible ecosystem right the very first time is the ultimate key to a thriving reef. So, knowing that the actions you take today will shape the microscopic army that protects your fish tomorrow, what exactly will you do to ensure your tank's biology is truly battle-ready? Thanks so much for learning with me today, and happy reefing!